Continuing with PowerPoint tables, today we look at creating calendars, another great application of tables, and then we'll also experiment with some text boxes and place those into the calendar with different events that are taking place. Before we begin, let's take a look at a calendar. Here's one from Macy's Flying Service, and we're going to look at this to get an idea of how many rows and columns we are going to need to do the typical calendar. Now, if we take a look at this calendar and we actually count the rows and columns, pretty easy. How many days in a week? That's right, 7 days in a week. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's pretty straightforward. Now let's take a look at the rows. We're going to need at least 5 for the weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our 5 rows for the weeks, and then we need another row for the days of the week, and then here's a larger row to have our title of the month and the year. And then in this calendar here, you'll notice that there are some additional rows and a fewer columns because they're wider columns up here in this header section where they have their information about their business, some images, other relevant information that they're sharing with their customers. And so you'll look here and you will see that there is this, what we call a decorative row here, a little border between the calendar and then some of the actual business information. So we could call that a row. And then there's a row here with some information regarding the business and what they're involved with and some phone numbers. And then here's a row with some images. And then looks like a top row here with some other pictures of the business, logos, names of their organization, and such. And so you're looking at this top section then at 1, 2, 3, at least 4. And then I'm looking at the original up there. It looks like a 5th up here. They got this little framing at the top and the bottom. And then columns, it looks like it's basically, this one looks like it was maybe merged into 2 cells. You got 3 cells here of these 3 columns. And then the same thing here, the way this text is, looks like it was centered within a cell, whoever did the layout design work on this. So for ours, we'll go ahead and just do a 7 by 7. We're going to have 7 columns and 7 rows, and that will serve our purposes, and we will be able to create something that looks like this. Let me get that out of your way. Zoom out a little bit. And so it fits nicely on the slide, and there's the month of February. We've got 7 rows, 7 columns. We merged the top row and put in our month name. And then we have in the next row, we have days of the week. And we've got those centered both vertically and horizontally. And then we went in and placed our days of the week, and we used a format that is this right here where it's aligned at the top and aligned to the left. And so what I'll have you do is build a calendar for each month for the rest of the year. We've got February through June, and then we'll go ahead and add some elements, text boxes to it. So you'll come up with something like this. Here I just put in a birthday. That's not really my birthday, but if yours is in that particular month, you could do that, or whatever information you want to put in, school events, sporting events, last day of school, things that would be relevant, important to you here at Tule Lake High School, you could do. So let's go take a look at building this. The first step is going to build a template, and then to copy that, we're going to have what, five calendars here. And so you can build a template, and then you can go back in and design it however you want based upon some of the skills you learned in the previous videos here on PowerPoint tables. So there I've got multiple copies. So let's go to the very beginning here. Let's say this is your first slide here. And the first step is to insert that table. We decided that we wanted to have a 7 by 7, so we're going to insert table, 7 columns, and 7 rows. And then once again, I'm going to make this a very generic looking table and just stick with my white with black borders. And then the next thing I'm going to want to do is to change the height of these first two rows. I want to get to an effect like this where I have a little bit taller row in my first row to put in the name of my month and also for the days of the week. And then I want to create something that's a little more boxy rather than rectangular for my days of the week. So the first step, I just have a blank slide. You can use whatever design you want. I'm just going to use this blank white, and click Insert, come over to Tables, Insert Table, and we decided that we need 7 columns and 7 rows. And then I'm going to go to my design and choose just the generic white with black borders. And there's my basic table. Now the first thing I want to do is come in there and make a few adjustments to my top row where I'm going to put the name of the month and also the row where I will have the days of the week. So on this particular one, I believe I had about 0.6 here. Yeah, here it is right here, just about. So I can come over here and increase that about 0.6. This one I will do the same thing, about 0.6 there. I want to merge this top row. I want to have my month right in the center and also in the middle, or centered vertically, right there. And I want that same effect for my days of the week. Centered and centered vertically. And the next step will be get my weeks looking like a little more boxy. So we're going to increase the height of those rows so I can select all of them so I can affect the change to each row. And we'll take that up to just about an inch. There it is. And then we're going to take that and just distribute that throughout the slide. Use up as much of that slide real estate as we can. And that's looking pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and align it to the center. And see how we look there. And now to complete the template, I can go ahead and put in the days of the week. And there is a template we could use for every month for the next 5 months. And so I will Control-C to copy that and then paste it several times. And then I can go to work on my months. And so the first one that you do is going to, there's February. And of course I'm doing very generic formatting here. I will anticipate that you will go in and apply all those skills, make this calendar look a lot more interesting than this. You have a lot of tools to work with the design and with the layout for the table tools. And you go in and start putting your numbers in. Of course you want to find out what the first day of each month is. And so February began on Monday. That's right. And so you can do it however you want. If you want to go by the weeks, you could do it that way. And we do have 29. We have a leap year, or just simply however you want to get it done. And you don't have to format them like this. I was just doing it the way it was on this Macy's Flying Service calendar. It seems to be a pretty common way to do it, but you can move them to the right, down to the bottom, however you want to do it. And so you're going to do that for each of your months. And then the last thing that you'll do is to go in and put in some text boxes, like this one right here. And the way that gets done is that you click Insert, Text Box, and then draw your text box in the desired location. Type your text, and at this point now you can go ahead and type your text and then format it if you want. I'm going to put in here, I have a tax appointment on that day. You'll notice that's a little bit large. I am going to come in here, highlight, change that to a font size 12. And then the thing that's nice about these text boxes is that you can place them any location you want. You can change the alignment of your text box, or your text within the text box. I'll have it centered there. We can change the fill. If we don't want it white, well, we can fill it with something else. I'll put a little gray there. We can have an outline. I'll have it black. And there you go. And that is how you use text boxes within the calendar. So go ahead and create those February, March, April, May, and June. And then we've got information around the classroom that you can use to practice some text boxes and inserting some dates. And some of you might actually find this thing useful to have. You can always print these and include them within your notebook. So nice way to make your own calendars. And if nothing else, a very good way to practice using the tables in PowerPoint.